Good morning. Okay, what we're going to do here today is we're going to cover basically a different method or a different way of working on your strikes. We cover the zones, we cover different angles of attack, we cover a lot of that kind of stuff. Today what we're going to focus on is working on the clock. Okay, and this is a very universal thing that's used. I've seen it used in Kempo, I've seen it used in different places. It's all over the Force Necessary program, whether we're doing hand, stick, knife, or gun. And I'm just going to break it down today with the blade to give you a little better understanding of it. All right. So if you're looking at a clock that's in front of you, you're going to think about coming from a 12 o'clock angle. Now, the basic way would be a 12, a 3, a 6, and a 9. Okay, you'll see that very commonly done with the hand, stick, knife. Gun, you can think about it in many different ways, shooting those directions, whatever. We'll get into that on another video, or you go to forcenecessary.com, pick up some videos that break this down a whole lot better. All right, so anyways, we're going to work on the 12, 3, the 6, and the 9. Okay, now if I wanted to fill in those blocks on that for the full clock, I could work the X, which gives me, if I'm doing a downward X, it gives me the 130 and the 1030 angles. Now if I do no more than just come up with the upward X, I'm covering the 430 and the 730. Okay, that should make sense to you. So in essence, we're cutting the plus sign and the X, and you've covered the whole thing. We've now covered the 12, the 130, the 3, the 430, the 6, the 730, the 9, the 1030. We've covered the complete clock. Now the only one we have to work on now is the center line strikes, okay, if we're coming in straight in from the clock. All right, shooting in from the clock, anything on the center line. Now these can be done in the reverse grip as well, but you're going to find that about 15 minutes of this clock can be difficult for certain individuals based on flexibility. It is for me. That last 15 minutes is pretty tough for me to pull off, so a lot of times I don't even do it. So I'll come down with 12, the 1, the 3, 430, the 6, 730, the 9, and at this point it's really impractical for me to try and do a 1030 because I just don't have the flexibility. All right, so I'll just stop at that point. Now if we're going to look at stabbing, it could be the same thing. I could be coming in from a 12 o'clock, from a 1:30, from a 3, from a 4:30, from a 6, from a 7:30, from a 9. Now at this point in the saber grip, I'm really not flexible enough to pull off a 1030. Okay, but now if I was going reverse grip, 12, 130, 3. Now even getting down to here around the 430 doesn't make sense for me. Okay, 6 is doable, 730 is easy, 9 is easy, 1030 is easy. All right, so you can work that, or you can actually try and think about this, switching your grip. Let's work on some grip switches. We're just going to do a fan switch now, or we're just fan switching that out back and forth. Okay, you're going to find ways you like to do it. You can do the finger flick or finger roll. That gets a little more challenging with a bigger blade. But you know, just work on some of the different methods of switching the knife from saber to reverse grip, and then try and incorporate that in your training. Now this, yeah, it gets a little esoteric, but guess what? We're training. Okay, I'm not sweating the idea of what I'm doing. I'm training, I'm trying to develop skill. I may not do this in combat. It is what it is, all right? So now if I wanted to come in from a saber grip here, 12, 130, 3, 430, I can come up to 6 no problem. 730, 9, 1030. I don't really have a problem on the slashing angles with that. But now if I come back and I do reverse grip, 12 is not bad. No problem. 130, 3, 430, 6, 730, 9. Well, I'm struggling right here to get a 1030, so I'll switch it to a 1030. All right. Now from a thrusting perspective, coming in from a 1, or basically, I'm sorry, a 12, 130, 3, 430, 7, 6, 730, 9, not so bad. I'm never going to pull off a 1030 unless I do a fan switch and drop it down to 1030. Okay, so that's another way you can work on this. Reverse grip slashing, same thing. Gonna have trouble. Okay, saber grip stabbing. gonna have trouble. Okay, so that's the idea. When you get to that 15 minutes of the clock where it feels a little bit challenging for you, just do a fan switch to one of the other sides. You're gonna find that works pretty well. Another thing that works pretty good is think about separating the top and the bottom. Okay, so if I want to think about cutting the top and then switching, when it starts to feel uncomfortable or when it feels like I'm getting my flexibility compromised a little bit. I feel good here, where it could start to be getting a little bit compromised here. I'll just switch it. I'll cut up this direction. Now it's feeling a little bit funky here. I'll switch back. Just kind of switch when it feels like it's getting funky. Switch your grip. And work that on your stabs and your slashes. Like be stabbing. Feels a little funky. I'll switch. Okay, it could be stabbing, reverse grip. Starting to feel a little bit funky. Starts to feel funky. Coming back down. So when you feel that, whether you're doing top or bottom, or I could even do, sorry I digress a little bit, doing top and bottom. I could thrust, top, and then actually I'll stab from the top. Switch my grip, stab from the bottom, switch to the top. Okay, you can do things like that. So go ahead and practice. Break out your training blade. Do a variety of training blades. Do a smaller one, do a bigger one. You know, just work through these motions. And the deal is to get a good word that Hawk always uses is savvy. You need to have savvy with your implements. A person that can go through basic motions, or a person that can go through them with some savvy, is a whole different cat. You know what I mean? So practice this stuff. The only way you're going to get savvy is time and grade. You know, it's like other instructors have said, you got to put in the flight time. You got to put in those rounds. How to become a good fighter? You got to spar. You know, you got to put in the rounds on against a target that's, or a opponent that's not, you know, going to give you anything. Somebody that's wanting to take from you. That's the only way you get better. You got to pressure test your stuff. You got to push your stuff. Okay. So what I'm doing here, especially in the times of COVID, I don't have an opportunity to have a training partner to give you some ideas on ways to get down a little bit harder. But even though I don't have Bob out here today, a good way you can do an interim is break it down solo, then break it against targets. Okay, have Bob out here knocking the snot out of Bob, cutting Bob up, realizing when your grip feels compromised. If I'm coming in trying to do this slash and it feels like there's nothing to it, I'm going to realize I do need to come with that slash. You know, if I'm coming up trying to get this whatever kind of motion that feels compromised on me, if I'm starting to come down here and this feels funky, switch it. You know what I mean? So wherever you need to adapt and that kind of thing. And as old what's his name said, you know, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Clint Eastwood. Heartbreak Ridge. There you go. That's it. I tell you, I'm kind of dating myself, but that's cool. Have a good day. Train hard. Enjoy the day.